Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace, mercy, and blessings of God be upon you. This is a new presentation from www.central-mosque.com and the Humble Heart YouTube channel. Recently, there was a debate between Javed Akhtar and Mufti Shamail Nadwi on the topic, Does God Exist? It is about a 2-hour debate, and the link is going to be present right here in the top right hand corner. If you understand Urdu and if you have 2 hours, I urge you to watch the whole thing. The link is going to remain right here. For the rest, what I'm going to do is summarize this debate as to what has happened. So let's begin. So first of all, the participants. Who is Javed Akhtar? Now, those in the West, they may not know some of these people. So India has a huge movie industry that everybody knows about called Bollywood. So Javed Akhtar is a lyricist, is a poet, and his work is well known in the subcontinent, particularly those who watch the Bollywood movies and so on and so forth. He belongs to a Muslim family and belongs to a family and generations of poets and well-learned men. However, he is an avowed atheist who does not believe in God, and the Indian media and on the internet, they put forth that he is one of the experts, supposedly, on atheism. Mufti Shamail Nadwi is a scholar from Darul Uloom Nadwatul Ulama. Mufti Saab is currently doing his PhD at the International Islamic University, Malaysia. For years, in fact, decades, many Muslims have tried to engage with Javed Akhtar and wanted to have a discussion on this topic of his belief in the lack of a creator. However, they have not had the opportunity. So this is the first time we've actually seen this. So let's break down the debate as to what happens. Before I dive into the debate, let me just say that the debate was on the topic of, does God exist? It is not a debate on religions. It is not a debate on different types of religions and what individual religions believe in. It is not a debate on good versus evil. It is not a debate on faith versus belief. It is not a debate on presupposition, like you believe in something, so you suppose this happened. Nothing like that. Simple. Does God exist? Provide your argument. You believe God does not exist. Provide your argument. That was the entire premise, and you can watch the entire debate right here. The link is in the top right hand corner. However, throughout the 2 hours, Javed Akhtar does not present a single argument on the non-existence of God, and he does not answer any questions that Mufti Shamail put forth. For example, from the beginning, Mufti Shamail keeps on telling him to address the contingency argument. All the way to the end, he never addresses the contingency argument. What is the contingency argument? Simply put, let me explain this to you, because this very often comes up in the debate between those who believe in God and those who do not. So something is contingent if it does not have to exist and if it depends on something else to exist. For example, I am contingent because my parents brought me into this world. Suppose, from a materialistic point of view, my parents existed because their parents were a cause of their birth, and so on. A tree is contingent. It depends upon seeds, water, sunlight, and so on. And the universe is contingent. When you look around, nothing that we see, the chair that I'm sitting on, the software that's recording this, everything depends on something. So the idea here, if there's something, depends on something, it cannot explain the idea of God. Simple. So things exist. Everything around you exists, and it has some kind of a dependency. So A exists because of B. So for example, chair exists because of wood. Wood exists because of trees. So you will just keep going forever and ever and ever. You will say this. Once again, A exists because of B. B exists because of C. C exists because of D. And if you keep on going on and on and on, it will never explain how this thing was created. So there is a necessary being needed, which does not depend on anything, and that is the definition of Allah in Islam, or a creator, because a creator does not depend on anything. Javed Akhtar never answered that. Then Mufti Saab continued to talk about infinite regress. He doesn't even understand it, let alone present an argument on it. So what is infinite regress? Again, it's a bolt-in concept from what we just talked about. So we say A happened because of B, so the chair was created because of wood. Wood created out of the tree. The tree created out of the seed, and so on and so on. So the idea that, A exists because of B, B exists because of C, C exists because of D, and D exists because of E cannot explain God. So if you, at some point, you have to get to something which is non-dependent. Okay, and the atheist worldwide cannot answer this question of infinite regress, and Javed Akhtar, for whether he doesn't understand it or refuses to get into the debate, never answers it. So an infinite chain of dependent causes cannot exist, because it's like having a house without foundations, right? So imagine, if on a very simplistic level, there's a foundation, then you build walls upon it, then you put roof upon it, then you put doors and windows and so on. So everything has to have some kind of foundation that does not depend on something. Now, I understand in my crude example, the foundation is resting on earth, right? So in philosophy, in Islamic theology, there must be first independent reality that couldn't have been created by something else. That's it. Simple. He never addresses this point throughout. Because he doesn't understand the point of does God exist or not, he interjects good versus evil. Again, typical of people when you talk to them about atheism. So him, and then subsequently in the question and answer session, people say, if Allah is all powerful and merciful, then why are innocent children being killed in Gaza, in Palestine? Why does God allow evil to happen? Why does God tolerate evil? Why does God make it all happen? And so on. So complete departure, and then they get to God versus evil. So how does Mufti Shamail answer that? He answers it in a number of stages. So Mufti Shamail asks Javed Akhtar, how do you define evil? So he goes through a whole cycles of explanation, and eventually he said what the majority decides. So an example, majority think rape is evil, therefore rape is evil. So Mufti Shamail says if majority decide what is good or evil, then the genocide that was committed by Hitler is good because majority decided it was good at that time. Javed Akhtar thinks about it, changes his position. He goes, no, that's not what I meant. What I mean to say is eventually what the majority on the planet decide. Mufti Shamail says if what majority on the planet decide is good versus evil, then we have data, conclusive data, that majority on the planet believe. So why are you an atheist? No answer. So then they asked us, well, you define God, you keep defining God as good, so why does God allow evil? Mufti Shamail says, he goes, no, you are simply saying that we believe in God being powerful and merciful, and that's it. No, we don't say that. We say God has many different attributes in addition. So God is powerful, merciful, God is also all wise, God is also all knowing. So their attributes, when they're all fully together, then God knows why things happen, and we do not have the full picture. So then Javed Akhtar and in the question and answer session, they said, then why did God create evil? That makes no sense, because you're saying God is merciful, God is nice, God is good, so why did he create evil? So Mufti Shamail gives a very simple example. He goes, and this, by the way, is a professor who puts this question and the next one. And Mufti Shamail says the good and evil are created to test us. He says, for example, in an exam, a teacher creates a multiple choice question. 3 of those choices may be wrong, 1 of them may be right. So is the teacher evil simply because he's put 3 wrong answers to a question, knowing fully well that those 3 are wrong? Is the teacher evil? So then they changed the direction of the question a little bit. They said, then why does God witness evil? So once again, Mufti Shamail says, in an exam, imagine a room full of an examination room where students are taking exam, and the teacher's witnessing all this students taking exam. So some of the students are answering the question wrong. Teacher's walking around, he's looking at everybody's exam paper. Does he interject? He knows that answer is wrong. He knows that is not what the correct answer is. He knows it's completely diabolically wrong. It could be unethical, it could be evil. But does the examiner or the teacher stop the exam, prevent the student from answering? No. When the results come out, that's when the student finds out whether he answers the question correctly or wrongly. So he gives that example. Part 3, Mufti Shamail says that basically when a doctor injects a child, gives him an injection because of the child needs treatment, the child is in so much pain because of the injection, because of the needle. The child thinks this is pure evil, cannot comprehend why this is happening to me. Why am I in so much pain? So the child is already in some kind of pain, some kind of body pain, and you give him more pain by giving an injection. So Mufti Shamail says the child has a pixel, not the picture, right? So he goes, based on the pixel the child has, which is he or she had pain, and you inflicted more pain, the child concludes that this is evil. No, God has the full picture. In this example, the doctor has the full picture, saying it is necessary for me to give this injection to the child. So the doctor has a bigger picture that, hey, I'm giving this child, I'm inflicting a little bit more pain for long-term benefit. So Mufti Shamail says that we humans have pixel. God has the picture. So we cannot, based on a limited understanding, predict, understand, and conclude what is good or evil, because we don't have the full picture. And the final argument that Mufti Shamail made and there were a number of questions asked about Gaza, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we pray to Allah to relieve the pain of those in Gaza, our Palestinian Muslim brothers and sisters and children. Mufti Sahib said, let's talk about Gaza and the children dying for a second. And he goes, we can only look at this issue in terms of what we're talking about in debate from two points of view. One is a theistic point of view, meaning that, a point of view where someone believes in God, or an atheistic point of view where somebody does not believe in God. So from a theistic point of view, we believe that God is doing a test. This life is temporary. God is taking away these children's life, cutting their lives short, but in return for this short pain and for this short suffering, God will recompense them, and recompense them something beyond measure, right? So for little suffering, these children will have huge status in the paradise, huge status in the hereafter, and so on and so forth. And he goes, that is the theistic point of view. From an atheistic point of view, you explain to me why these children are being killed in Gaza, because what is the point? Because there's no God, there's no hereafter, there's no reckoning. So why are these children being butchered and their life being cut short from a atheistic point of view? What is the point of this? And nobody answers that at all. So basically, Javed Akhtar tries to twist it. He goes, in nature, a lion kills a rabbit, for example, then that's the way nature is. And then he says, then why, if you believe that's natural, that the oppression and evil and everything is natural and in nature, then why are you trying to change it? That makes absolutely no sense. If it's natural for people and beings and everything else to afflict each other, then why stop it? And then the person who's suffering, for example, in this case, the child who's dying in Gaza, or the animal that got eaten up by the lion, that animal or that child hasn't done anything to deserve this. What is their recompense? And once again, this entire argument falls apart. So here I am. I've summarized the 2 hours of their points, their rebuttals, and the question and answer session. Mainly, it revolves around some of these points. And I've tried to interject some examples from my perspective to try to make you understand what they're trying to say. Jazakallah khairan. Once again, the link is right here in the top right hand corner. The debate is in Urdu, so if you understand it, it's better for you to watch it directly. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.